Eastern Cape Premier maintains his innocence in a scandal involving funds meant for the struggle icon Winnie Madikizela Mandela's memorial service. The EFF has laid charges against Oscar Mabuyane and other top officials in the province. This was after Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane found him to have received 450,000 rands from the Mbizana local municipality. Here's Newzroom Afrika's Sipa Kema to start us off.
Yes, Public Protector has missed an opportunity to be Public Protector. I think the public needs to be protected from her as a Public Protector.
Eastern Cape Premier and ANC Chairperson Oscar Mabuyane is disputing the Public Protector's report, and he questions the competency.
We gave her all details, all facts. She deliberately decided to ignore every fact because she had already had this pre-arranged conclusion that she wanted to arrive at. That's exactly why she has arrived at that. So now court will help her to understand the role of the office she occupies. That office is so important. It must be protected in our constitutional democracy. It's about the future of this country. We can't just have people who can be reckless about it.
Are you aware that today the EFF is actually heading to Judicial Police Station to lay a formal charge against you, Premier?
Yes, I've heard about that. It's not surprising. That's how they've been behaving. Generally, they behave like that. Many people have been opening cases about me. I'm worried that police station will have full of cases about me.
The EFF in the Eastern Cape says that the ANC government officials implicated in the 1.1 million rand scandal are imposters.
They took money from Bizan. That municipality is the municipality that is named after Mama Winnie. They took money, 1.1 million. This was Mama Winnie's funeral, by the way. There's a tendency here of eating monies of funerals. These are imposters, abakotlis. We need to expose them. We're here to open a case against Oscar Mabuyane. We're here to open a case against Babalo Madikizela, Weziwe Tikane. We're here to get them, we want them arrested. They have stolen money.
A case has been opened against ANC Chairperson and Premier Oscar Mabuyane by the Eastern Cape EFF. In the meanwhile, Mabuyane is now challenging the Public Protector's report. For Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405, I'm Sipa Kema in Bisho.
That was yesterday on the campaign trail. Tonight, we're joined by the Public Protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, and she will be unpacking the report and what her office found during their investigation. If you want to put your questions live to the Public Protector tonight, do send us your comments and questions, 072-110-5584. You can tweet us at Newzroom405, and of course, we'll take you live with those questions tonight. Advocate Mkhwebane, good evening, and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Thabo. Good evening to your listeners and viewers.
We'll get into the report and the details and the finer details and what you have followed. But just your immediate reaction to that statement given at the campaign trail. The Public Protector has failed to protect the public. We will take her to court, and maybe the courts will teach her how not to be reckless with that position.
What I will say is that the Premier has taken an oath of office to respect the Constitution. So in his position, he is expected to act at that level, and I think to also watch what he's saying because, you know, he knows that as the Public Protector is a constitutional institution, we need to protect the public from those who will squander public resources. So as the Public Protector, the investigators who investigated the matter and prepared this report based on the evidence, which I will also take you through the pages of the report where we have that particular evidence on, and it will help to take the matter to court if he does do that, and the court will also go through the evidence which we have. If they will be objective and focus on the facts before them and the law, And what we have been doing to follow the money, as we have been requested in other prior judgments, like the Mail-in Guardian versus the Public Protector is an SCA judgment where the Public Protector should be having an inquiring mind. The Public Protector should be, have investigative powers which are beyond reproach and to follow the state money. So that's what we've done in this case. We were investigating the complaint which we've received. Indeed, you'd see that the findings are against the municipal manager of the municipality. But then when we follow the money, then it leads us to these other individuals.
Yeah. Your inquiring mind has led you to the conclusion that it is undeniably proven that there was criminal intent on the part of the Premier Oscar Mabuyane and his government officials. In fact, you say the financial benefits that accrued to Mr. Mabuyane and Mr. Madikizela and the ANC raise suspicion of a commission of criminal conduct. Is there a political criminal syndicate in operation in the province?
I wouldn't want to comment on that or as well preempt whether there's any political syndicate. What we are meant to do as the Public Protector is to make sure that we instill the culture of good governance. Whoever is a leader is utilizing public resources. They use the resources of the state to benefit the public. And as I said, during this month is Good Governance Month in South Africa, in fact, for the Public Protector. And we expect accountability, transparency, and not abusing state resources. We don't expect dishonesty by the public servants and poor service delivery. Unfortunately, what is coming out of the Eastern Cape, it's a number of those instances where there's a lot of such dishonesty, such abuse of state resources. And especially, we issued the Mandela funeral report. The same findings were there where we determined our outcomes revealed that they've abused state resources for their personal gains. And that is still continuing. So it's very much concerning. And when that is being revealed, because the steps should be taken to address this, but then I'm being labeled as being reckless and being a danger to the public. I think that one, it will be addressed accordingly by the legal team, because, if the matter is going on review, we will have to address it. But I think, again, we cannot have leadership of the government who will then have taken an oath of office to respect the Constitution, to address and to speak like how they are addressing us as constitutional institutions who are there to protect the very same people who've put them into those positions of power.
Yeah. Look, it's not on official legal papers, I suppose, that statement, but of course it was made publicly like that. Would you want the courts to have the Premier issue an apology for that statement?
Definitely, I think the Premier will have to issue an apology because at the end of the day, engaging with my office, we can avail the evidence which we have in our possession. It's not a problem, so that he can see for himself. If he was the investigator, what would he have done? And state resources are meant to be spent for memorial service, but those monies end up in his wife's project or paid into this company, and now it's renovating his house. So I think hence I said, following the money, and if he says there was allegations or as well responding that it's a loan from Madikizela to him, yes, if it's a loan, it's one thing, but we were following the money. You cannot borrow somebody's state money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Issues investigated and evidence obtained. When we continue next with the public protector, procurement of transport services ended up being an eating spree for officials, including the highest office in the province, that of the Premier. That's according to an investigation by the public protector. Of course, the Premier denies this and says he received a loan and there is a loan agreement in place to prove so. Let's hear what the public protector found out in her investigation. This public protector emanates from a complaint to your office in the Eastern Cape by a resident in Buffalo City Municipality, Xolile Mashukuka. And this followed, of course, that report in the Herald that cited how 3.3 million rands was kind of being spread around between various different people. It looks like a very complicated web of transferring monies around. 20,000 here, 300,000 there, 50,000 here, plane tickets here, and so on and so forth. How did you untangle this whole kind of web?
We have very experienced, in fact, the investigator who investigated the matter is the provincial representative of our office in the Eastern Cape, and he's having vast experience in the field of forensic investigation. So when we conduct forensic investigation where there are allegations of monies or state monies which have been utilized, we'll have to acquire bank statements. We'll have to also acquire any records, affidavits of any witness which will assist us, and likely in this instance, Mr. Bam was willing to assist us when we approached him, because any person is compelled to assist the public protector. We had to subpoena an affidavit from him, and we then also had to subpoena his company's details and the bank statements, and then that's where we could then follow the money, how the money moved from the municipality's coffers into his company's bank account. Then it was moved to this company, which the 450,000, the company which paid for the renovations of Mr. Mkhwebane. Then the other 350,000, we could see how it moved into Mrs. Matikizela's company, and the other money then to the FNB account of the ANC in the Eastern Cape. Yeah. So that's what has been done, and that's what is revealed to us, or the evidence before us, and hence, when we also approached Mr. Mkhwebane, Mr. Matikizela, and the others to give us their side of the story, because that's how the investigation was conducted, the issue of fairness, and also listening from their side, or them also assisting us with the investigation. And yes, Mr. Mkhwebane indicated that he received a loan from Mr. Matikizela. So unfortunately, I don't know whether they told each other where the money originates from. But then for us, we have that truth that the money it originated from the Mbizana local municipality and what it was meant to do.
It seems to have moved public protector from one businessman who says he was making a donation to the ANC. There's really no explanation as to how does it move from one businessman to another businessman and then to this shopping and spending spree. I mean, initially they're saying it's a fraudulent invoice. What was contained in that invoice to the degree that it then allowed for money magically to be released within 24 hours? I mean, if you've ever done any work with government, to get money released in 24 hours is quite a mission.
Yes. This municipal manager contacted Mr. Bam and requested Mr. Bam of Mtombeni Project to prepare a quotation, or an invoice, which will be indicating that he provided some services to the municipality. So then Mr. Bam apparently, because he told him to, in fact, that one it's another one. In fact, it's two of them. There's that 1.1 million where he had to prepare the invoice for the delivery of services. Hence, the money was paid into his account. The second one as well, there's that 2.2 million. We also followed the money, even if it was paid, we Key Spirit Trading, which renders services to the Eastern Cape provincial government. But then that Key Spirit Trading also requested Mkhwebane to issue an invoice to say the coil's roof sheet, or to provide coil's roof sheet. And after that money was deposited, then Madikizela called this BAM of Mkhwebane project how to distribute this 2.2 million to various proxy bank accounts, which are aligned to the government officials within the Eastern Cape provincial government, as detailed in the evidence. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, there's various pages of the report for the benefit of the listeners as well, where you'd find the evidence. It's there in the website, publicprotector.org website, because in page 36 of the report, it does indicate the amount of 1.1 million, which was paid by the municipal manager into Mr. Bam's bank account of Mkhwebane projects. And then the municipality has also not appointed any company through SCM process. Remember, any procurement in municipalities should comply with the Municipal Finance Management Act and their supply chain management processes. Page 54 to 56 of the report shows that this Alan Moran confirmed by email to also to the PPSA team in August that an amount of 450,000 was paid into their net bank account, and then the reference was Mabuyane. And when he queried that amount with the client, who was Ms. Siya Mabuyane, then he was told there's an email to that effect, which is part of our evidence. And then he was told, now this is for the renovations. And then when you go to page 37 of the report, there are deposits of 250,000 and 100,000 from Mr. Bam to IPM Plant Hire, the company of the wife of Mr. Madikizela. Then page 35 and 38 of the report, there's also a deposit of 280,000 into the ANC's bank account. So that's how the monies were utilized. And then at the end of the day, page 62 to 63, it shows that Mkhwebane projects, when the money was deposited, they only had 6,458 in the bank account.
Now, when you ask from the municipality that you've issued this money, where's the proof of the services that were rendered? And did they receive the coil sheet that they're talking about, or any of the services that they say were contained in that invoice?
That's what was never produced, because, I mean, if you have an affidavit of the company or the owner of the company who's saying, here's the money deposited, I was only told to fabricate the invoice, there's no service I've rendered, I don't even own any company which can provide that particular service. The municipal manager was also then given a Section 79 notice where they were informed about our findings, and they couldn't explain themselves why they violated the municipal SCM policies, the constitution, because they never followed the procurement processes. Because at first there was an arrangement which was agreed to, that those who will be transported, there is a company which was appointed to transport the community to the memorial service. And there was an MOU, an MOA, Memorandum of Agreement, which was signed where the sports and recreation and arts to collaborate in the hosting of the memorial service. So in terms of the agreement, the department was to provide the municipality with 1.1 million for the transportation of the public to the service. So the department was also to provide the municipality with details of the service and any other relevant information for the execution of this task. So the municipality's end of the bargain, as spelled out in the agreement, included being responsible for the procurement of transport. And I mean, any procurement, state money, MFMA, supply chain management policies should be followed. And there should be documentary proof of any service which has been rendered. So the investigation then revealed that in respect, the 1.1 in respect of the municipal services, then the money, instead of being deposited into the company which was appointed, but then it ended up being deposited into Mr. Bam's account. Because there was also the Bizana Local Taxi Association and the Cook Construction and Projects, which they are the ones who transported some of the members of the public. But then the question is, why did they appoint them? Yes, if they wanted to appoint them, they were supposed to follow the proper procurement SCM processes, and there should be then the invoices and the money should have been paid to the service provider. But in this
did any part of that 1.1 million end up in some transport company of some sort whatsoever? Because yes, transport was kind of provided, but it is not clear at this particular point what did they get paid for providing that transport.
That's what from our side, because 1.1 450 plus the 350 plus 280, then the 20,000 which is remaining, whether it went to Mr. Bam to many projects, or then that's the money they used for the taxi drivers, which for the records which we have, it doesn't show whether there's any money which was paid into the local taxi association.
The advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the public protector, with us still tonight on, of course, the reports released on Friday, particularly tonight, focusing on what happened in Bizana, local municipality, with that 1.1 million that was then dispersed, including to Alan Moran Design Architecture Services, which was money then used to renovate the Premier's home. Public protector, of course, the Premier says that there is a full verifiable loan agreement between himself and Mr. Madikizela. Is there such a document of agreement between the two?
Yes, they've provided us with that document when they were responding to our investigators. And hence I'm saying when we follow the money, that's what it was revealed to us, that the very same money which was deposited into the account of Mtombeni Projects is the same amount which ended up in this company which renovated his house, and the other 350,000 went into Mr. Madikizela's wife's account, or the company's her company's account.
Yeah, and what is then the former MEC saying around this particular money that was deposited into Mtombeni coming? Because I gather that money comes from the municipality, right?
That's why I'm saying, Thabo Oguti, the money which we were following up on, even if they've given us that loan agreement, they borrowed each other the money. Unfortunately, the money which he was borrowed is from the state coffers. It's not from a personal arrangement between two friends who were borrowing each other money. And he was the MEC by then when the Treasurer General of the ANC was borrowing him that money, but the money is from the state coffers.
Yeah. Is there conversation on the WhatsApp as to how then the 450 was, or how the instruction was given for the 450 and where it was to be deposited?
Yes, we have we've subpoenaed as well the telephone records for amongst those who were discussing. But I think, remember also the assistance which we received from this director of the company who received the monies and who said, I never performed any service for the money I received, and I was called, I was instructed to deposit the money, was given the details where to deposit the money. So all that information is part of our records, but then as well, when we are taken on review, normally they would want to have the records, we call it Rule 53 records, where then if you are hearing the matter as a judge, you will have to go through all those records and apply your mind to why we came to the conclusion which we came to as the public protector, because that's what we do. And as well, when we investigated this matter, we also investigated the behavior of this municipal manager, who is the accounting officer of the municipality and who has utilized the resources outside of the policies, because normally that's all what we check, the compliance to the various prescripts as an institution, like how the Auditor General will be doing when they audit that particular municipality, because they would want to know if a service is delivered, where is proof of the delivery of services, the money is paid, the process followed, and that's all what we do as well as being the public protector.
I don't know if it falls within your scope, public protector, but did you inquire from Mr. Bam as to why was he a willing participant to begin with in the issuing of this fraudulent invoice, and what changed in the details of their arrangement along the way that now made him turn whistleblower?
We were not investigating Mr. Bam. We would want to have a lot of the Mr. Bams out there, whether they fought or whether they have anything. If it comes to state monies, we would want a lot of Mr. Bams to come forward and assist the public protector to investigate and uncover such fraud for the benefit of the public, because I think, Thabo, we should be concerned about how Eastern Cape is so poor. How the hospitals, the schools, there's no roads, people don't have water, but then you find then monies like this being splashed just like that in people's bank accounts. So for us, we were not investigating Mr. Bam, and we will never investigate the whistleblowers who are coming before us, as long as they are willing to give us their cooperation or any whistleblower, because that's part of that process. And we encourage a lot of other Mr. Bam to do similar things.
Yeah, it's a question I'm putting, because many a times when we investigate or we talk about and interrogate public corruption, the officials will come and say, yeah, but you never investigate the private companies that make the public officials corrupt, because they are also complicit in this, because they kind of had this arrangement, an agreement that this is how money will flow. I will invoice and the money will come, and then all in that process, then the one who was a participant now becomes a whistleblower. It would be quite telling as to how that relationship happened.
Well, that it happens. I mean, even the police and even the Hawks, NPA does that most of the time. Even if you were part of the process or in the commission of that particular crime, if we need a witness, you turn a state witness, and then we because our main aim is to deal with this malfeasance. So I don't think we need to even focus or put our energy on that. The very much important thing is that he ended up having a conscience that he cannot continue doing this rot, because how do you enjoy receiving money in your bank account and you issuing fraudulent invoices that have performed or have delivered services, whereas you have not done that? How do you sleep at night? How do you Yes, actually, because people are starving. We are faced with the challenge of poverty and unemployment in the country. Then you find people, well, now they just receive these monies into their bank accounts just for sweet nothing. I think we, as a country, will have to then focus on making sure that we encourage a lot of those whistleblowers, irrespective of the fact that they were in cahoots. Because as I'm saying that, even in criminal cases, criminal trials, you would get the very same co-accused to 10 state witness.
Yeah. We move from that then, Public Protector. Let's go to your other report talking about 6 senior staff at the PRASA in Western Cape who were irregularly appointed, and 3 successful candidates with no legal qualification or practical legal experience. How did these appointments actually take place?
I know, Thabo, is concerning because we have a lot of these irregular appointment investigations, and we always plead with several employers, municipalities, departments, to always make sure that you have, they've got their recruitment policies in place, and you advertise a position, you need to comply to your recruitment policies. If you require, your policy is saying for you to appoint a director and executive manager, the person must have the following, you advertise a position, you require following NQF 7 or whatever, 5 years experience if it's at this position, or 8 years or 10 years experience. I think the most important thing is learn from these reports, fill the position, or shortlist people who meet the requirements and appoint people who meet the requirements. So the report which we issued, we hope PRASA will use this report to correct and make sure that going forward they stick to what the Constitution provides as far as Section 195, professionalism, objectivity, fairness, and going forward as well, comply with their recruitment and selection policy. So the process which we followed is we still raise the matter with them, their responses, and we also gave them an opportunity to even comment on the findings and the remedial actions.
In conversation with Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, the Public Protector, releasing some rather explosive report and findings on the officials in the Eastern Cape and how 1.1 million went into the pockets of the Premier, the then MEC for Public Works, and went into the party in the province as well. Let's take your calls now. Thabo is calling us from Vosloorus. Thabo, good evening.
How are you?
Abiso, I'm good, man. Hope you're well too. Plus, you also come from Vosloorus, my hometown, so it's all going well tonight. What's your question?
Yes, man. Let me just greet the Public Protector. Yeah, Thabo, I just want to find out from the Public Protector. 1, does he always have to receive a complaint from a member of the public, or does he investigate voluntarily on all allegations that we are seeing in South Africa? Second question, why have we never seen the Public Protector recommending that criminal action be taken against these perpetrators of this corruption? Thank you.
Thabo in Vosloorus, appreciate your call. Well, it's a familiar question, Public Protector, but I know you have a very simple answer for it. But try and tackle that. Do you ever instigate your own investigations without the public actually reporting? Do you always recommend criminal action be taken?
Yes, the Public Protector Act is very clear. We either receive a complaint from the members of the public, or alternatively, you might also complain on behalf of somebody else or an organization, NGO, or conduct an own initiative investigation. We've conducted several own initiative investigations, like the hospitals reports which we've issued. Those were the own initiative investigations. There's Mzumkulu matter. We also conducted an own initiative investigation. And most of the time where we suspect or there's evidence in which we have and we suspect any criminality, like in this particular instance, we've referred the matter to the Hawks. Yes, they are investigating the matter. They've been investigating the matter, but then we've also then issued a remedy that we're forwarding this matter to them for further processing because we don't have the criminal mandate. I mean, some ombudsmen do have, like the Rwandan ombudsman, they have a criminal mandate. They can even proceed and prosecute the matter themselves after such evidence.
I've seen some say, public protector, especially the political analysis that has been given on this particular matter, that they are concerned that the Hawks could be infiltrated in this particular case because, I mean, they've also received similar affidavits that you have been following. Why has the matter not been concluded up until this point? Is concerned that this so-called political criminal syndicate has somewhat compromised law enforcement agencies?
I think, it's for the Hawks to answer for themselves why they've delayed to investigate, because at the end of the day, they also have their own service standards. And I think there's nothing stopping members of the public if they feel that there's matters they've lodged with the police and there's a delay to finalize those matters, or there are matters before courts where there is a due delay to finalize those matters, to lodge complaints with the public protector, because then we will have to take the matters up with them so that they can explain to us what is the delay or what causes the delay in finalizing the matter. So I think they might give an explanation themselves, but unfortunately it compromises their credibility as well. If this matter was also lodged with them in 2019, but they are still not yet prosecuting or, concluding in the investigations.
Speaking of matters before the courts, you're quite unhappy with the SCA's refusal to consider your challenge of the invalidation of the SARS Rogue Unit report. I believe you are now appealing directly to the court president, both the High Court and the SCA refusing that. But you're now taking this to the court president of the SCA. What do you hope to achieve with that?
Well, we're giving her an opportunity as well to really look into the matter, because the rules of the court allows her to do that, and we're hoping that she will consider it favorably. And unfortunately, Thabo, there's something which is also going around. Anyway, we don't have proof of that, the allegations that if matters are considered on paper, not on viva voce evidence, sometimes there are allegations of people being compromised within the state attorneys and, in the courts. So we don't want to just speculate, but also give an opportunity to the judge president to go through and reconsider, because it's within the rules for her to do that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, a question from Pamela in Kraaifontein along those lines. She says, it looks like most judges are dismissing most of your findings and appeals. How do you feel about that? That's one part of the question. The other part is also, Premier Mkhwebane says he will take you to court. What are your comments about that?
It's not a lot. It's you media who all repeat one and the same thing, and people think the number of cases. I mean, it's 14 cases out of the 274 reports we've issued, which were set aside, 14. And 8 of them we opposed and defended positively. Actually, we are even not defending ourselves. We are defending the matters on behalf of the public, because those matters where we feel that the mandate of the public protector will be impacted to the detriment of the public. So it's not about me, it's about the public. So as I said earlier, Mr. Mkhwebane is the Constitution allows him to do that, but the remedial actions are binding until set aside by a court of law. So it's within each person's right. I mean, imagine if I had unfettered rights or powers where people cannot oppose or take me on review. Yeah. So this is a democratic system where my reports can be set aside on review, or the judges' judgments also can be set aside at the higher courts and even the SCA or Constitutional Court.
There is a perception out there that the courts are treating you unfairly, so to speak, when you raise these issues and you, for example, appeal this one in the High Court, appealing it in the SCA, and they just keep refusing you as if they're just picking on you as a public protector. Do you share that same sentiment? I think Pamela is asking along those lines. And are you concerned at all with the Premier saying, no, I'll take you to court, that the courts will again find in a manner that is not favorable to you?
Unfortunately, there's that, out there. It's concerning because you'll find that most of the issues are not adjudicated on facts and the evidence before the courts. Take, for instance, the Constitutional Court judgment on the Reserve Bank matter, where you compare the minority judgment of the former Chief Justice Mkhwebane. I'll say former. In 3 hours he will be out of office, and farewell to him. And I think he was a man of integrity who focused on the evidence before him. And I mean, his judgments were so objective. And unfortunately, yes, I have also that feeling of, sometimes the judgments, when they are issued, at some stage, I would believe that, sometimes, especially in the Pretoria North High Court, you just need to show up, irrespective of how your case is. You will succeed when you are against the public protector. So unfortunately, then it gives the others, like your Premier, that thinking that, they will succeed no matter what. Possibly he's correct, he might succeed, but history has no blank pages. Our truth will always remain out there, and the evidence will always remain out there that this is what happened. And being the public protector, my only focus is the poor, the marginalized, and those who are subjected to this poor service delivery and, not having access to healthcare, roads, water, and all those drinking water, animals and stuff like that, and finding leaders who will just continue and say they are going to courts. Unfortunately, courts allow them as well to be used because they should be putting out justice. Is it fair for people of the Eastern Cape to have such a premier who see nothing wrong in the findings of the public protector instead of, just acknowledging and improving and learning on what we have found?
Speaking of service delivery, here's a quick one. We've got about 30 seconds here from Phumlani in Bishop. My question is whether there is a possibility for the Public Protector's Office to do inspections, public surveys, check good governance without waiting for a public report of some sort on service delivery with regards to tenders, check if good policies benefit the local people fairly and they are implemented.
Some we do when we have own initiative investigations, conduct inspection in locals, but then unfortunately we don't have the capacity to do all those. We might do whatever is within our capability to do that. But then if we are conducting an investigation, definitely we go all out. Hence, we'll do forensic investigation do inspection in loco. Currently, the Eastern Cape office is busy with the systemic investigation around the Eastern Cape, especially the rural areas on service delivery. And I mean, the evidence they are also picking up there is concerning.
Public Protector, as always, appreciate your time and making yourself available to talk to us on In Focus. That is the Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane. We leave it there for tonight. And thank you for your engagement.